This episode is for the memoir writer who has tried every writing routine and none of them is stuck. You've done the morning pages, the word count goals, time blocking. Somehow you are still not writing consistently. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why that is, and it's probably not what you think. Let's go. You are listening to the Memoir Method podcast, the place for writers, readers, and anyone who appreciates the collective power of our stories. In this podcast, we explore the impact of memoir alongside an examination of writing techniques and strategies used in the genre. Whether you are a writer looking for inspiration and guidance or a passionate reader seeking meaningful connections through shared experiences, the Memoir Method podcast is your go-to conversation spot. I'm your host, Charlotte, editor, writer, and the heart behind Charlotte Writes. Let's get started. I'm going a little off script from my outline for this episode a little bit because I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling creative right now. I'm not feeling like I am in the mood to make something. I'm not feeling connected to my creative work. And I know that I'm not the only one who has felt this way. One, I felt this way many times before. I always come back to the writer I want to be, to creating what I want to create. But it's also shown up in other areas of my life where I have been in a funk. And today, this morning, as I'm recording this, I'm in a funk. And this is my window to record. I don't really have another time that I can get this done before it goes out tomorrow. And so I'm just coming to you really honest today because life is life. And it's really easy to look at this creative or this writing routine that you've worked out that you say, oh, this summer I'm going to do X, Y, Z as in my writing. It's really easy to look at that and say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And then when it doesn't happen, or when you, again, hit that funk, it's really easy to think that something is fundamentally wrong or that you are fundamentally wrong. So I kind of want to look at that today and give you some reframes. And I also just want to be really straightforward and honest about where I'm at mentally today. Because I usually like to come into these recording sessions feeling like I'm on a really high frequency energetically. I want to connect to you. I want you to be able to feel my passion and my devotion to this work, my devotion to you. I want you to feel that through your AirPods. And today I'm just feeling off. And so I just wanted to be really honest about that before we get into the meat of today's episode, because this is honestly kind of the point. This is kind of the point of this episode and of this work as a creative writer, as a creative. You are not going to be on all the time. We want to be on all the time, but we won't. And the routines that we build for ourselves that we think will keep us in the zone, those aren't going to work long term. And there's a reason why, and that's what I want to get into. Again, it would be really easy for me to say, well, I'm the problem. I just need to have better energy. I should have done this different. My mindset needed to be different. All these things. I'm doing it wrong. I could very easily write that story for myself for even just today. You could write that story for yourself with your writing and with why that writing routine is not working. You cannot for the life of you get back into your flow. Maybe you were in the flow and then you fell out of it. It happens for 1,000,001 reasons, but this is what I've learned. And again, I'm saying this as much for me as I am for you. You're not the problem. It's not about you as a human or as a creative. Whatever funk you're in, wherever you fell off of the writing routine wagon, this is a sign of just a deeper creative misalignment. But there are pieces to that creative flow that once you look at them, you can start to tweak and that creative flow will come back. I know that I will get back into my zone because I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong. So let's talk about it. In last week's episode, I talked about the 3 puzzle pieces to a creative flow. So if you listen to last week's, this will be a bit of a refresh for you. We have how you think, what you consume, and how you work. Most writers will jump straight to the external writing process as the problem. It would be really easy for me to jump to, I should have recorded this earlier in the week. I should have done this. This is my problem. But understanding these three puzzle pieces of a creative flow, whether that's the creative flow of me as an editor creating resources and containers and experiences for you and this podcast, or my creative flow and as an essayist and a memoir writer, the creative puzzle pieces are the same. So what you think is writer's block or a process problem or you just not being disciplined enough, you're actually just struggling with creating a solid creative foundation. And again, I'm speaking in the middle of some misalignment right now. And when I go through these pieces, I'll be able to tell you what's wrong. Okay? This is the purpose of these puzzle pieces, is to help you diagnose and adapt and reconfigure your creative foundation so that you can get back into alignment and flow. Your writing rhythm is the third puzzle piece. This is the third because it relies on pieces 1 and 2 to work. So if you don't have 1 and 2 dialed in, how you think and what you consume, then whatever process, whatever rhythm, routine you try to introduce into your life is not going to last for very long. I want to use exercise as an example. So I used to see exercise as payment for eating. Just note, this is not about eating disorder. I did have some disordered eating in my 20s. And also I'm a survivor of millennial diet culture. Everything about my health was compartmentalized. How I looked was separate from how I felt in my body, was separate from what I ate, was separate from how I moved my body. And for a long time, my primary concern was about how I looked. I didn't give much thought to how I felt in my body, whether I felt strong or weak, or how my tummy felt after eating a lot of snacks. What happened was that if the weight on the scale changed, then I paid attention to what I was eating, and then I paid attention to exercise, but it was all in service of this really surface level thing. But no matter what I did, no matter what workout program I tried, I always fell back into old patterns. So here's what changed for me. I integrated my health. First, I changed how I thought about food and fitness in my body. I completely deconstructed diet culture. Then I paid attention to how food and movement made my body and my mind feel. And only then was I able to look at my health as one whole thing, integrating the nutrition with the fitness. Now I can look at my body in a holistic way. How I look doesn't matter to me now as much as how I feel in my body. And the result, ironically enough, is that my body is changing. Your writing is no different. When you start with the wrong priorities, how you're writing or how much you're producing, then any routine you try to implement will fail. You need the foundation pieces. Just like in health, you need your mindset, nutrition, movement dialed in to execute a reliable and sustainable lifestyle. Your writing life is the same as this exercise nutrition. It's the same principles. I want you to be able to swap the playbook. So stop worrying about your routine and start focusing on what it's built on. Like I said, I went over these in last week's episode, but I'm going to review them in this context. And also in the context of what I'm experiencing today as I'm recording this. So how you think. This is about how you think about yourself and your writing. Is the coding running your subconscious supporting who you want to be or weakening it? My coding right now has been defaulting to old coding that makes me feel like I have to prove something or be good enough or earn something from my readers, from my clients. I have a scarcity energy in my body. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. When I thought that vegetables were boring and exercise was a punishment, I could never sustain a long-term exercise and nutrition plan. My programming that was dictating my experience was fundamentally flawed. If I stick with this old coding running my creative energy right now, I'll probably just stay kind of cranky and I won't actually meet you where you need me to meet you. I tried to start recording this episode sticking strictly to the outline that I have, but I was faking it. It felt forced, and I knew that you would be able to feel it. And so that's why I stopped that recording. I started a new one, and I'm coming in here being really honest about where I'm at creatively right now, where I'm at energetically right now. And I'm trying to realign, recalibrate these puzzle pieces so that I can access that high creative frequency, that high flow. If you go into a new writing routine thinking that that's what's going to make you feel like a real writer, that your identity as a writer is dependent on your ability to sustain whatever new creative regimen you have, then you will be disappointed. You will fall off the wagon. You'll let that mean something about yourself. If I forced myself through that podcast episode because I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to do to be your friendly neighborhood editor, you would feel it. I know you would feel it if I forced it. And so, again, I'm realigning my internal narrative in my head, how I'm thinking about this work. And I'm realizing, okay, I'm thinking I have to be at this super high frequency to be able to connect with my clients, with my listeners, with my writers. But actually, I need to be me. And me right now is feeling a little off. But what I want you to take from that is you are allowed to have off days. You are allowed to feel off. That's okay. So even just changing that thought in my head, that programming, like, oh, it's okay that I come to this recording honest. That's actually going to connect with my writers more than faking a high frequency, because you can't fake it. So to reverse engineer a writing routine that you actually love and is actually sustainable, you get to start with your internal programming. I have a free resource to help you with that called the Writer's Block Decoder. I'll link it in the show notes. What I just did, talking you through my energy as an editor right now, coming into this space with you, that was the Writer's Block Decoder. Basically, I was looking through, okay, what am I thinking? What am I thinking I have to do? Why am I thinking I have to perform in this way? And then when I changed the story, I was telling myself, oh, my writers respond to me. They don't want a performance of me. They want to know that they're allowed to have off days and still be a writer and still be creative and still be able to get back onto the horse, the creative horse, so to speak. That changed with a very simple thought. The next puzzle piece is what you consume. Your internal narrative is fed by your inputs. If you try to muscle your way into a new mindset without using your inputs to support it, then that's like me exercising every day but eating McDonald's for lunch every day. One supports the other. And if you're only focused on one, then the other can take you only so far. I know that my inputs are not balanced right now. I've been doing a lot of outputs this week as I've been creating and delivering the writer's workshop sessions. I've been in a lot of output. It's been really great output. I've loved it, but my inputs have also been a little off. Like my inputs have been a lot of scrolling when I have time. I haven't been reading as much as I want. And so again, now that I've readjusted how I'm thinking about this mood I'm in, now I'm looking, okay, what inputs would best serve me? When I'm done recording this episode, I'm going to go read a novel. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go read a novel. I still have a couple things I need to do this afternoon for the writer's workshop, for the replay that's going out later today. But I'm just going to give myself some inputs that make me feel like I can breathe. And I know that I'm going to feel better after I do that. For you, if you're convinced that this new writing routine is going to change your life and be the ticket to finishing your memoir, but you spend your mornings scrolling or your nights out gossiping about your neighbor or bemoaning the state of the world, then it'll be really hard to show up to your writing routine in the right energy. It's really hard for me to show up in the right energy here if I've been consuming crappy inputs. So this is a second piece. If you want to get into that creative flow, what are you feeding your brain? Is it helping you, or is it diluting that internal narrative that you've worked so hard to recode? We vastly underestimate how much our inputs matter to our creative process, and we don't pay enough attention to them. So if you're in a funk like I am, look at what you're consuming. It's a really interesting spiral that can just kind of self-perpetuate. When you are in a funk, you just want to zone out and you just want to scroll stupid things on TikTok or Instagram. But also those stupid things are keeping you in that state. So what input would actually make you feel like yourself? Again, for me, that's sitting down with my reread of East of Eden. That's what I'm going to do today. I mean, I'd love to do that for the rest of the day. That's not super realistic for me, but an intentional input, even for 10, 15, 20 minutes, that is going to change my energy and my mood. The final piece is your writing rhythm. This is what you think is off. This is the top of the pyramid. And know that I said writing rhythm, not writing routine. A writing rhythm includes reliable elements, but is also flexible. To keep on with the fitness and nutrition analogy, this is like when I commit to strength training 4 times a week, but I let those workouts flow with my calendar. I don't commit to every morning working out at 5 a.m. because that's not realistic to my life. But I have the different elements in place so that I have a fitness and nutrition rhythm to my days and my weeks. Typically, I like to do strength training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes Saturday, but sometimes I have to shift those around, and that's fine because it's a rhythm. The elements are in place. I can move them around as necessary. Like, it's nice and good to read Stephen King's book on writing. Again, that's like a classic, and try to replicate his routine. But one, he's a full-time writer. Two, he has a wife to do his laundry. Like, that must be nice. Again, I'm feeling really snarky today. For me, today, with this weird vibe, weird mood I have, the rhythm isn't actually my problem. I had to rethink about how I thought about things and this mood I'm in. And then I'm going to adjust my inputs a little bit. And then it's actually going to be fine to show up and do what I need to keep doing, what I get to keep doing. I get to finish up the workbook for session 3 for everyone in the writer's workshop. I get to work on client work. I love it. It's so much fun for me. So, like, that's actually not my problem, right? Do you see what would be really easy to think is the problem? That, I didn't record this sooner in the week. I should have recorded this earlier so that I could just have had a weird day and no one would have to know about it. But that wasn't the problem. And you're seeing me work through this in real time. A writing practice isn't a schedule. It's a relationship with your own creative rhythm. You're seeing me work through my creative rhythm right now, like my editorial creative rhythm. Like any relationship, it requires you to actually know yourself, not the version of yourself you wish you were, but the version who actually has 3 kids at home all summer, 15 minutes before school pickup, and a nervous system that doesn't do great with a lot of noise. Like, we don't have to change you. Just need to know you. I don't want you to change who you are. And even though I talk about identity shifting, it's not changing how you're wired. It's becoming more of who you are because you are aware of how you're wired. Is this making sense? When all 3 of these puzzle pieces are in alignment, your routine, your rhythm doesn't feel like discipline. It feels like something you want to actually do. It feels like fun. And even when it does feel like discipline, because you might be in a funk, it's not hard to sit down and write. You're going to sit down knowing what to work on. You're going to arrive in your writing window with your creative energy intact. You're going to be able to pivot when someone's sick or when you're traveling or when you're in a mood like I'm in. I had to pivot this episode so that it felt honest to you, because I also know you can feel my frequency. If I came in and just went through this outline and faked an energy, you would feel it. But looking at these 3 puzzle pieces, slightly adjusting them, I'm even feeling now more aligned than from when I started this episode. My creative energy is back online a little bit, because you're going to have a practice built around how you actually work, not just how you think you should work. That's what these 3 puzzle pieces do. This isn't a fantasy version of a writing life. This is what becomes available when you stop trying to fix your routine without addressing the first 2 pieces. I just finished up the 3rd session of the Writer's Workshop. The Writer's Workshop has been running this week. It's 3 workshops, 1 for each of these puzzle pieces. How you think, what you consume, and how you work. This is the room where your writing routine, rhythm, becomes something sustainable and flexible. All 3 sessions are available for you to watch now. You can watch the replays, consume these in a day, over the course of a week. They're yours forever. All 3 come with workbooks to help you integrate. And everyone who goes through the Writer's Workshop has the option to book one-on-one coaching calls with me afterward to help you integrate these principles into your actual lives. Currently, the Writer's Workshop, again, all 3 sessions, is $77 through June 30th. And after that, the price of this resource will jump to $222. So if you're on the fence, now is your window. If you're unsure whether the Writer's Workshop is what you need right now, first off, what you just walked with me through in this episode, I was applying these Writer's Workshop principles, these puzzle pieces, to my creative rhythm and flow as an editor. And I do this in my writing as well. These are the shifts, and they can happen really quickly. But if you're unsure whether the Writer's Workshop is what you need, you'll want to download my free resource, the Writer's Block Decoder. This is the resource that will help you identify which old stories are running in your subconscious, just like what I talked about, how I was like, oh, the old story for me would be like, oh, I need to show up at a high frequency. I need to show up in a really high vibe on these episodes. And if I don't, then why show up at all? Like that was the old story, and you saw me shift it. It's like, oh, I don't need to be like high vibe, high frequency. I need to be me. I need to be honest. That's what you're going to be connecting with. And then that's what allowed me to show up and record this. So this resource will help you identify those old stories running your subconscious that are blocking your creative flow. And so that then you can start to recode new ones. This is really the foundation of every session in the Writer's Workshop, is this Writer's Block Decoder. And that's free. Go download it in the show notes. I'll send it straight to your inbox. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for allowing me to be me, to be a human, to have a weird day, and to be really honest with you about that. And how weird days, funks don't have to determine your story. They don't have to determine how you think about yourself. Again, you just go and you adjust each of those. That's what I teach inside the Writer's Workshop. I would love to have you in the room there. I'd love to hear what your experience is. As always, slide into my DMs with your breakthroughs, questions, anything. I'd love to hear from you. And I will be in your ears next week. Honest and me. I won't be faking anything for you. I'm not here to perform. I'm here to connect with you and to show you a new way of writing. That's what I'm here to do. Thank you so much for being in the room with me. I'll see you next week. You've just listened to an episode of the Memoir Method podcast. The Memoir Method podcast is presented by Charlotte Writes. If you liked what you heard, the best way to support the show is to subscribe through your preferred podcast player. And if you're feeling especially inspired, I'd love it if you left a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Leaving a review really does help other readers and writers like yourself find the show. If you want to continue the conversation, you can find me on my website at charlottewrites.co or on Instagram at charlottejanewrites. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. And remember that you have a story that matters.